Hello, everybody out there. I'm going to cross my fingers that you can hear me loud and clear, crystal clear, because I did have to do a rather an emergency switch over in software that was unplanned and I did not plan to do. And I can't tell if you can hear me. Everything's been tested, so I know internally it works. I don't know the streaming, because I've never used this software for streaming purposes. I know the software generally works. I don't know if it works for streaming up to YouTube. I wasn't even able to stream to Twitch, which really annoyed me. So for Twitch folks, it's not going to work, and I have to figure that out because my primary software just decided not to work this morning, and I'm really not very happy. So if it seems like I'm very upset or frustrated or pissed off, I apologize for that. It's not anything personal. I'll do the best I can to continue what I'm doing, and just again, cross my fingers you can hear me loud and clear. And if you can't, let me know in the chat so I can try to do something about it. I don't know what I'll do about it, but hopefully it's fine. Anyhow, real quick, let me talk about the so-called luck challenge, my opportunity to expose the business with the way that they treat their people that follow them. And what I like to do is go in and say, I'm going to use my platform to actually encourage general, not specific, general engagement. And so that's what the Lunk Challenge is if you engage, I will burn Luna Classic straight from my wallet. And I actually have a dedicated wallet. You can go to our Twitter account. You can see that wallet address. And if you were curious, you can investigate and confirm that, yes, I'm burning what I say I'm burning, because I'm one of the community. And I'm, even with all the issues Luna Classic's having, and trust me, there are a lot of them, I still believe that, there's an opportunity with it. And I'm going to keep on going as long as I feel like it, frankly. So I ran last month's stats. Looks like we're somewhere around $15-ish based on last week's stats. So I will burn another 15 from the wallet. Again, doesn't seem like a lot, but you got to count. If you look, the big picture here is, at the end of the day, are we able to show, right, that we are truly community members? Are we truly ones that support the community and do what we can do? I don't make any money off the channel. I never have, because I don't run ads, never will. So it is what it is. For those that are new to the channel, by the way, welcome. My name is Leicester. I'm your host today. And I'll give you fair warning, especially if you're new, but also if you're old. YouTube sucks. Just being honest and candid, YouTube sucks. So YouTube swears there's a problem. Now, I don't see a problem on my side, but it throws all these messages and crap swearing there's a problem. I don't see there's an issue from my side, but you may see issues. I'll check it out after the video loads and I'll review it. And if there's issues, then I will try to correct those so I can give you the best experience possible. Without further ado, let's get into some numbers, talk about it real quick. I like to look at Ethereum more than any other, simply because I think Ethereum has the long-term potential that I like to see. I also think that cryptocurrency in general is starting to look at Ethereum as kind of that go-to measure, as opposed to Bitcoin that used to. Doesn't mean that we won't get to something good. It just simply means that right now, this is what I see. And I want to talk about Ethereum. Ethereum's having a little bit of a run, not much of a great run, but it's still down from where it was. And some news came out that said that basically Ethereum turned inflationary. If you didn't know, Ethereum was built to be deflationary with the transition to the proof of stake. But because everything's down, volume's down, transition, everything's down. So it's created an inflationary situation. This is not what we want to see, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe it's something to be worried about in the big picture. I don't believe that it's going to like kill the business or any of this type. I think that we'll be okay. I truly believe this. I think that we'll be okay. And I think long-term, we just got to watch it and wait, see what's going to happen, especially because I have predicted that Q1 of 2023 is going to be a little bit painful. And so far, the velocity, if you go to your month chart, looks like it had a little bit, but if you notice, this is right back down here. I don't know if that'll sustain. I think it'll be okay, but I think for now, it's something to keep an eye on, and make sure that your investment strategy takes into consideration not just the green that you temporarily see, but the potential for long-term red in the future. I'm not saying that there will be red. I'm saying that you want to invest thinking about the potential for long-term red in the future. That's why I like the month chart, because the month chart gives me an indicator of direction of movement, which to me is downward. I could get it wrong, and I'm hopeful I get it wrong. As it stands right now, I don't think so. So we'll have to see what happens. And I am still optimistic. I remain optimistic. We'll always remain optimistic. But for right now, this is concerning to me, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully things look up. Speaking of looking up, if you've been watching everything Bitcoin, right? Everybody's kept saying for a long time that Bitcoin should be going on a run. It should be going up, should be going on a run, should be going up, should be going on a run. All this over and over again. Bitcoin has the same general direction of a thing. So nothing's changed. Now, what does this mean? It means that Bitcoin and Ethereum are running lockstep with one another. It means that we can use both of them as a measure of where we're going. It means that we can look and predict as best we can generally what's going to happen in 2023 unless catalysts come along. Big picture is we need catalysts. If we don't have catalysts, this is going to be scary. I'm not trying to freak you. I'm not trying to tinfoil you. I'm saying if we don't get catalysts, it's going to be problematic. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's some good news. The good news is that in my assessment of overall graphs, so now I look at month, and obviously that's giving me a direction. Look at year, that's giving me a direction. Of course, that looks scary as all heck, right? In my mind, I still maintain that Ethereum looks like it's going to be the one that's going to recover faster, meaning they both are going to be hurt by what's coming, but I think Ethereum is going to recover faster. They both have a large drop. Some of that's liquidation, some of that's sentiment as the volume loss. There's a lot of factors. I think Ethereum has the potential to recover faster and sustain for the longer term, as in, if I were to look out for a year, 2 years, which one do I think is going to get back to at least some of the glory days of 2021? I'm leaning more towards Ethereum than Bitcoin. Now, if I'm right, that means that the lockstep that we currently see is not going to last very long. It means that it's temporary. It's a blip. It's not going to sustain itself. And we're going to see where Ethereum starts to take over and go on a run, and nothing's going to be able to stop it. I think that's exciting, at least for me personally. Speaking of things that used to be exciting and no longer are, Luna Classic, Terra Luna Classic. Terra Luna Classic's not looking so good. And as I covered on the podcast at cryptotalkradio.net, the issues in the community I predicted that were going to happen, because the moment that they started inviting telescam folks, I knew it was going to be a matter of time before we got the wrong people in there with the wrong voices, loudly screaming for a thing and damaging the momentum that we had built up. And I'm disappointed. I really am disappointed, because you got to think, at the end of the day, long term, if we see Luna Classic get to some level of success, I'm not even talking about, penny deep, 10 deep. I'm just talking some level of success. Let's say it drops just 1-0 off. That's a level of success. That's a lot of money. If it was able to do that, morale, can you imagine the morale boost it would have? And we're getting jacked up because of a bunch of kids that say the word Jeet and say the word Keck in the freaking thing because people want to get paid. Now, I blame Terra Rebels, because they should never have gone into this thing talking about volunteer. They should never have gone in here talking about what they do for free. They should have openly said, we'll help you out. We expect to get paid. We need to treat it like a real business. Let's do it correct, and let's do a transaction. The reason they didn't, because you probably had different people at the time. And then as they brought new people in, these new people are the greedy people that say the word Jeet. And so your screening's all messed up. And if I were consulting them, and I know they'll never talk to me, they don't want the smoke, but if they were, I would tell them, you guys just screwed yourself. You totally screwed the pooch, and I got no sympathy for any of you. But the point is, Luna Classic has an opportunity to change the game. If Ethereum Classic could do it, certainly Luna Classic should be able to do it. And that's sad. It's sad. It's disappointing, because you have the chance to really tell a story, an amazing story. This could go all the way. I'm talking all the way, and they don't want to do it. I don't know what to make of it other than disappointment. I can only say disappointing. It's totally disappointing. And I don't know what's going to happen next. I can't predict it. I don't even want to try. Now, I got to do it. I have to welcome him. I have to welcome him because it's important for certain people. You may not care about this next coverage, and I understand that. And I apologize, but I guarantee there's people out there that'll care. And I have a story to tell. I got a story to tell, Notorious B.I.G. I used to like the dollar. Now I like these NFTs. These NFTs are bigly. Trump, NFTs sell out from officialtrumpcards.com. The way he did this, I think, was brilliant because he sold it on his site, crashed the site, because I actually was going to buy one for $99 because I knew it would 2x minimum. Didn't get it. That's fine. Crazy amounts. The top card is, look at this garbage. Look at this crap. There are kids in junior high school that could do a better job than this. This is the top selling NFT for this crap. Listen, you can't even make this out that it's his signature. And we know what his signature looks like because of that meme of him holding up the thing that he signed in the office. It doesn't even look like his freaking signature. You can tell that his face was pasted on somebody else's body. He's not that thin. He's never worn a suit that was this nicely tailored. None of this even looks like him. And in the background is crap. And yet this is the number one NFT. When I say number one NFT, this guy, Rockefeller, bought this MFer for $30-something thousand, close to $40,000. It might even be $40,000 for this crap, this garbage for that much money. Now, Trump makes 10% fees on these because he owns the NFT. So he owns the thing as a creator. So he makes 10% on these. He makes 10% on each one that's sold, whether it's sold on his or it's sold on free market. He's banking. He's just sitting back. You know, I used to like your dollar. Now I love these NFTs. They're bigly. This is crazy. This is crazy. And I've said, anybody's heard me, I've said NFTs are crap for this kind of a reason, because that's all we're doing. It's just a bunch of garbage art. I mean, that's fine, but it's not what I like to see. I like to see something more. I don't want crap. Like, this is crap. Now, if you own certain ones, there's like a lottery and something. And if you own enough of them, like there's some people own, like they bought like 100 of them or whatever. And so it guarantees you a dinner with Trump, or you can go golfing with Trump, or you can do a Zoom call with Trump. Listen, even Floyd Mayweather didn't rip people like this, man. Floyd Mayweather, it was a fan deal. I think it was fan deal or whatever. And you bought a shirt and something, and it's like $40 and you're inside of a thing. Or you pay like $100 and something, or $200 something or whatever to get a Zoom call. Even Floyd Mayweather wasn't ripping people like this dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, Floyd did his own ripoffs. We're not going to talk about that here on this call. I just figured I had to talk about it. Speaking of talk about it, Binance. The whole fiasco with Binance and this whole proof of reserves. If you are one who heard me on the podcast at cryptotalkradio.net, you'd have heard me say, I felt the proof of reserves is smoke and mirrors. The rush to it. We need the deep. That's all everybody said. We need this deep. It's the biggest thing, deep. They all should have a deep. And it didn't do any good. Didn't do any good because all it really did is create more FUD. And to define, FUD is false information designed to harm something. It is not when it's the truth, it's false information. So there was no FUD involved in what happened with Binance. What happened with Binance was pretty much factual data, as in over-collateralized, using sketchy assets. They didn't even look at liabilities. So if you're going to really do an audit like this, and I speak as a former auditor myself on the financial side and a current one on the crypto side, you have to look at, there's a reason why it's called assets and liabilities, profit and loss. You have to look at both sides. It doesn't matter that, oh yeah, I got a bunch of coins sitting over here, deep. If you don't know what expenses you had and debts you've got and obligations you have that would possibly offset any of those reserves. That's why I said proof of reserves are smoke and mirrors, because they don't even really know what it is they're evaluating. What they really need to do is an assets and liabilities review. Assets to understand all assets, not just reserve assets, but all assets, assets that aren't even part of the reserve pool. Because here's the thing, if something went wrong with the reserves, you also should know if there's something else that you can tap from in order to shore up the gaps. So you want asset review, and you also want liabilities to understand, just because I have $1 million sitting over there, who cares if my liabilities are $950,000? Essentially, I got $50,000 to my name. These are the things that numbers tell you when it's done right. What happened is, unfortunately, because of FTX, largely FTX, someone, and I don't know who started this crap, might have been Del Rugpool, aka Del Crypto, for all I know. I don't know. Somebody started this rush of, we need proof of reserves, we need proof of reserves. Might have been CZ himself. We need proof of reserves, we need proof of reserves. Auditor comes along and tries to do a proof of reserves audit, doesn't know what the F they're doing because they don't go all the way. They expose the truth, which is you're over collateralized and this is at risk. And then a whole bunch of people sell out, a whole bunch of dumps happen. Binance loses a whole bunch of investors because People are nervous based on the data that was presented. It's possible Binance is perfectly fine. I doubt it, but it's possible. Chances are what's happening with Binance, I'll just call my own thoughts, my own opinion, and it's only my opinion because it's my show. Chances are what's happening with Binance is the same thing that happens with every other crypto exchange out there. What they'll do is they will hold reserves based on other people's money. That's not really reserves. It's just, this is based on other people's money. That's what I think they're doing. So it's kind of like this house of cards because everybody's borrowing from everybody else. So chances are Binance has been borrowing from somebody else, and that's all that is. Do I think they're insolvent? Oh, I don't know, because they didn't do a liabilities review. Without a liabilities review, there's no way to know, and nobody can say, and this Mazars pulling all their stuff and saying we're not doing it anymore, that exposes them as incompetent. Do I think proof of reserves has a place? No. Not the way we're defining it. It's ultimately just a regular assets and liabilities review, as we've always done in accounting 101. And they're afraid to do it because if you do that, that means you're going to get very much closer to SOX compliance and all these other things that they don't want to do because they know that'll expose the real truth, which is none of these centralized exchanges have any sort of solvency to them. It's all smoke and mirrors, which is why I've said multiple times to my listeners on the podcast, do not leave your money in a centralized exchange. You're being tempted by that carrot of the rates. Do not leave it in the centralized exchange. If you do so, you do at your own peril. Not your keys, not your coins. It should be in a wallet you control, only you control. Go there to do a swap and get the heck out of there, because if you don't, you are at risk of losing your cash. Now, anybody is free to ignore Leicester at cryptotalkradio.net. I'm not ignoring me. That's great. Just come back and get my credit. If something happens and your stuff gets locked out, just come back and give me my chops, man. That's all I got to say on that one. Welcome to Barry Crowder. He's asking about Pulse Trump coin. I don't know what the heck that is and don't really care because it has the word pulse in it. And if you've heard me, I said anything that says pulse, I'm going to ignore because of the SEC audit regarding all the influencers, aka shillers, about the Pulse ecosystem. And until that's resolved, I will never speak on those. Don't know anything about it. Says it's a Volt E-New rewards coin. Did not know that. Believes has not mentioned anything about a Pulse Trump coin. So I'm assuming it's crap. Because if it was really that good, Blee's been all over it because he's in the Volti ecosystem. He'd been all over it, and I don't see anything. So that's further evidence I'm probably going to ignore that. So I have no idea. So speaking of other rewards coins he's asking about, I don't know of any rewards coins because a lot of those rewards are a joke. However, I will be speaking about one here shortly that I think is crap, not because of the fact of the rewards, but because of the way they did it. So you might be interested. Stay tuned. Now, listen, if you're in or were in or plan to be in or thought of being in the LIBERO ecosystem, some of you may or may not know the history of LIBERO. Libera, you may or may not know the history. I'm going to tell you that story again. I've covered it on past videos. I want to cover it again. So I think it's important. And then I'll get to this garbage about Rodney Fudney's note here in the chat. So, LIBERO ecosystem started with a project called Garuda and Cerberus. One was an exchange, I forget which, it doesn't matter. Garuda and Cerberus, they get hacked. One of them got hacked, I think it was Garuda. It's hacked, they spin up THOREUM exchange. They spin up a tool for you to claim if you lost on Garuda and Cerberus's hack. They spin up a tool in THOREUM to get reimbursed. I was very impressed when they did this. After they did that, they start spinning up all these other tokens. The Thunder, and I forget the official name. There was a name for them, but it's like a whole set of Thunder tokens. Thunder 88, Thunder BNB, Thunder Cake, Thunder ETH, where you get rewards in whichever one. So Thunder BNB gives you BNB rewards. Thunder ETH gives you ETH rewards. Thunder Cake was the big one for a lot of people when Cake was a big thing for Pancake Swap. Fast forward, those tokens have been abandoned. All of the Thunder ones have been abandoned. Garuda Cerberus is actually still out there, but abandoned, completely abandoned. THOREUM is not abandoned. They migrated to THOREUM Capital, quote unquote. Multiverse Capital shows up. Multiverse Capital, and this is going to make some of you laugh if you're in the eco. Multiverse Capital talks about farming as a service. And mind you, the pattern with this dev team is they take some other project that's doing something that they think is cool, and they spin up their own copy of it, cosplay copy of it. So Multiverse Capital was in response to Multi-Chain Capital. The Thunder tokens and the rewards was because SafeMoon was doing the reflections. They were one of the first to innovate reflections. They figured they could do it better. Fast forward, you see Epic Hero come out. Epic Hero is a 3D NFT game. It's really just staking of NFTs. Been abandoned. Multiverse Capital's been abandoned. Fast forward, beginning of the year, Libero gets announced. There's banners. I'm pretty sure I saw a banner on PooCoin. I look at it. It's got a terrible APY. I know it's not sustainable. Whatever. I'll put a little bit of money, watch price movement, and I'll report on it. I've arguably done more analysis type videos on Libero than anybody else right now, simply because I believe I had a strong understanding of what they were trying to do. Libero pumps, double, 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 double. Okay, it gets to a penny. It got as high as a penny. I want to say it was 2 zeros up, maybe 3. But it got to a penny. I was telling people the whole time to take profits on the way up. Certain people didn't listen to Leicester. It's fine. Nobody gave my credit. It's fine. Libero starts crapping. What people don't understand about why it started crapping is because they printed excess supply, because they spun up this Libero bank, and the Libero bank was minting tokens to pay people the rewards for the bank. The mistake they made is paying rewards in the core token, which means you had to excessively print, just like our United States government. So Libero starts crapping. In their mind, they say, all right, fine, we'll just create Phantom Libero. I told them, create it as a basically Libero on the Phantom chain. Instead, they create a whole new token. I don't know why that made any sense. Phantom Libero is still out there. Phantom Libero is still profitable, but it's been largely abandoned. They talk about doing stuff back in August. Nothing's been done, except cutting the rate that you were effectively getting. But it's been largely abandoned. So that's Phantom Libero, but it's still out there, still profitable, but it gets no attention. They haven't even updated the menus on the stuff. Libera Bank shows up. Initially wrapped Libero, turns into Libera by name. Same concept, it's wrapped Libero. I gave a video warning people they don't want you to wrap, and they'll nail you if you try to wrap. And people didn't believe me, didn't listen to Leicester, didn't give my credit. When I told them they don't want you to wrap, they want you to buy it. It's basically another token. It's another shiny, as I refer to their pattern. It's a bunch of shinies. Okay, whatever. Libera Bank shows up. Notice there's no Libera Bank now. Do you know why? Because they merged it into Liberator Bank. Liberator Bank, excuse me, is the liquidity pool now for Libera and Binance USD. Okay, fast forward. So that's another shiny. Fast forward. All of a sudden, we start seeing these miners show up. Initially, it was supposed to be just a Binance USD miner with a pretty high return, and then they dropped the returns on that miner. But what people didn't understand is why it dropped. It dropped because it was a liquidity pool based miner. It's not Binance USD at all. It's a liquidity pool. In a liquidity pool, there's 2 tokens in play, the core token and whichever other, in this case, Binance USD. Libera is crapping. It's crapping because Libero has no value. It's worthless, and Libera is wrapped Libero. You wrap to a worthless token, it loses value. So when they do a payout on the miner, and I gave another video and I warned people, if you want to go in it, fine, but I don't see any value in this unless you're a whale. People then gave tweets and they said, this looks like it's a ripoff and the fees are way high and you're not getting the payout you're supposed to. And that's because the way they built it, that Libera is still crapping. So when they pay you out, they're not paying you in Binance USD. They say they are. They're not. They're paying you the equivalent value of what it would be, which means it's always lower because Libera is crapping, because it's a liquidity token, not the Binance USD stablecoin. Fast forward, and then all of a sudden we start seeing THOREUM gets a miner, and it's a BNB miner. And I actually said this one looks like it has some potential because BNB has some potential long term because it's deflationary and da-da-da-da-da-da. They dropped the returns. It's now nowhere near what it was, right? And it's been a little bit struggling. So it's not as bad as Libera, but it's down. But at least it gives you BNB. And the THOREUM in the pair is not excessive crapping. It's been hovering around 45 cents. So it's not crapping like Libera. So the value is persisted better on THOREUM's miner. All of a sudden, we see these gardens show up. I haven't even looked at the gardens. I refused. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, dude. Haven't even looked at it, but their whole sales pitch is you can withdraw from here. So people are locked in Libero Bank for 4 years because they sold you on that. Or they're locked in Libera Bank, which then went away and then went to Liberator Bank for 4 years. Or they're locked in Liberator Bank for 4 years, so your money's locked up in 4 years over there. Or you went into the miners. Miners, you can't withdraw it at all. All of a sudden, now you spin up this garden where you can withdraw, and there's fees, but the point is you can withdraw. If you felt like, I want to move on, the gardens, after the fact, let you actually withdraw your funds. I'm pretty sure people are pretty frustrated by now with the ecosystem, right? All of a sudden, I see Thorium Bank. Okay. Now, conceptually, right? Conceptually, I've got no problem with what it's doing. My issue is, number one, you've already burnt bridges because you pissed people off because you locked them in on the way on all these other shinies. That's one. Two, this concept of what it does, and if you didn't look at it, what it does is it's a bank, just like Libero and Liberator and Libero, except that it gives you rewards in various of the tokens. So it's passives. So it's basically just as you stake it, they just give earnings and you can claim them out, or you can stake them into a bank if there's a bank applicable, or you can compound it back in there for increased rewards. If this sounds like what the miners should have been, I completely emphatically agree with you. That's what it should have been. But here's why it's worse. This concept of what they're doing is basically the same damn thing that Multiverse Capital was doing, which means they could have taken the same concept and fixed Multiverse Capital and revitalized it. So the people holding it over there got something for their trouble instead of being left behind, as was the case. I have no issue with the concept. I have an issue with them completely abandoning Multiverse Capital because this makes Multiverse Capital completely worthless. 100% emphatically worthless. It makes the Libero Bank worthless. It makes the Liberator Bank worthless. In a sense, it makes the gardens worthless effectively. Because if you think about it, if you got returns on all of these and each of them has their own runs, you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot in compound rewards, conceptually speaking. The only flaw of it is that you cannot withdraw. So once you put it in there, it's just like the other banks, you cannot get it out. So if you were going to go in, you have to pretty much commit. I'm not telling you to. I'm telling you that this, for me, should have been fixing Multiverse Capital. And if you fixed Multiverse Capital, it could have done this same damn thing because it was already built to do that. And you fix that ecosystem and get those people solvent. Or how about you just simply improve the other banks and apply the same methodology so the people's money isn't wasted sitting there, losing value, doing nothing, getting anything in return. That's the problem I got. But the thing is, if you go back to my videos, you'll have heard me say, and I'll even directly quote myself. I said, chances are at some point, they're just going to give up with the miners and realize it's not going to work. And they're going to go back to Thorium and just say, I'm going to move on to another shiny. We can't make this work. And that's exactly what they did. Well, ask yourself, why is that okay? Why is that acceptable? I don't think it's acceptable. I think it's a problem. Not what they're doing, but how they're doing it, because they're leaving people behind. And that's always been my beef with the ecosystem, is them leaving people behind, because there was no reason to, because you got a whole bunch of people stuck in, there's over 100,000 people stuck in Libero, waiting for Libero to go up. Here's the slap in the face. Libero is one of the things you can earn, right? And it's got the highest rate of everything else, but you're getting, because it's the highest rate, you're getting a bunch of worthless tokens. If you whale in it, though, somebody could then dump off the Libero and create additional sell pressure, which means people who are still holding Libero kind of hoping for something, nothing, because it's going to further hurt the project. It's not solving the problem. Now they're basically just giving it away because they realize that it ain't no good. And they've kind of gone all in now, apparently on Thorium. And Libero is not really getting anything. And like I said, Libero is completely abandoned from my eyes. So if you're in the ecosystem, I'm just calling to attention. This is what Multiverse Capital should have been. It's what it should have been. Not putting it over in Thorium. Put it in Multiverse Capital because that's what it was designed to do. Instead of completely abandoning them, and stop abandoning Libera on their stuff. It's not about what you're trying to do. It's how you're doing it. Now notice, not very many people are buying into this. Only $100,000 worth of a thing. I believe that's a sign. I believe people are tired of the whack-a-mole, because that's what it is at this point. And I don't know what to think about it other than I'm disappointed in seeing them do that. All right. Let me catch up questions. Yeah, so Fudney apparently talks about it. That's fine, but he talks about a lot of stuff that I certainly don't really care about. I'm more fundamental on that one. Yeah, 2,000 market cap seems like crap. Burnt liquidity means nothing because they have tons of Doge chain, whatever, did theirs. It didn't do anything. It's been crappy Crap coin, but safe. I don't see how it's safe, frankly, because if you put your money in something that is successfully losing value, and here's the thing, it's going to pump temporarily and then crap. That's fine. I'm not impressed by it. I look for long-term things. I look for things that are going to be around for the long term, not things that are going to pump and dump that obviously are going to pump and dump. Like you're talking like a Saitama V3 level pump and dump with something like that. I'm not going to do it. And, ultimately it's tied to Voltinu. Great. Let's see it play out. I'm going to wait and give it some time. Just like the car salesman with Seifu, I was not going to give it any overt credit simply because of the initial pumps. I already knew, give it some time and the thing's probably going to die out. That's what I'll do with any other token. But, once again, I don't watch a lot of the tokens others cover initially because when they're covering it, it's probably too new. You can't know. It's probably crap, and we just haven't tested it as crap yet. Let's give it some time, and then later, either I'm right or I'm wrong. So that's my thoughts on that one. And that's my credo. I don't cover garbage. I purposely try not to. But if I'm asked to cover something by somebody that's listening, I might do a swag if it seems like it's okay. There might be something here, as I've done. Golden Sparrow token's a great example, and some of the other ones. But I've also seen right now, if I were anybody, I would stay away from anything that's straight garbage. I would stick with the core coins because they can never steer you wrong, ever. And I maintain this, and I always will. I think that we're past the point of trying to make a quick buck. That said, though, if I was able to get into the Trump NFTs, that would have been some easy money because that's obvious because we know Trump has a cult following. So those people are going to spend thousands of dollars on crap. We knew that, but that's different. There's no risk there. It can only go 2x minimum because it's Trump and it's an NFT. So it's whatever. So if you buy it and it's OpenSea, it's whatever. It's Polygon. So it's whatever. It's built, right? So that was easy money for anybody that got in there. But then you got to think about it. That guy lucked out getting some mark to pay $40,000 for a garbage NFT. But that's a drop in the pan of the real picture of what the value of those are. So I think they'll tank eventually. They'll start crapping out. Who knows? Now, of course, if Trump's still alive and he runs for president, then the value will skyrocket. Then we got to see what's the legality of him having an open NFT line, but he's not selling them anymore. So that one could be a lottery ticket for those people that bought that now, that bought it for even $300. Could be a lottery ticket for people if he manages to get into the presidency again. That might be a lottery ticket. That's the only one I see right now that I would even say, okay, yeah, I wish I could have gotten in there and got one for 99 to see what happens. But I'm not stressing it. Most of my investments at this point are the core coins, not anything else. I refuse because I'm risk averse in that regard right now, especially with the Elizabeth Warren thing. I want to see how that plays out. Speaking of risk averse, the triad and the work I'm doing on the triad is designed to avoid all that crap in the first place. And working on that's kind of my mission. So if I get that one going, and it turns out there will be an actual traditional token, as in a regular traded, sold token, that's part of that ecosystem. And that's going to be coming sometime. I don't know exactly when. And there I could just put it out there and say, all right, cool. This one is never going to have any sort of issue with government, but it's available for buy, sell, and trade if anybody's interested, and just see what happens. And if I'm able to pull that off, great. I don't mind. All right. I want to check one quick thing because I think I listed. Oh, yeah. Future state. So, this is me. And chances are other people on YouTube will emphatically disagree with me. And that's cool. I don't care. My opinion, Q1 is where we're going to start seeing some of the pain that we initially start seeing here. Q1 is when we start seeing the first phases of pain. And hopefully there are catalysts that show up that offset it and get us back on track. But I don't know that there will be. I'm saying I hope there will be, because the pain I see, I think some people will have a hard time recovering, as in they'll say, okay, screw this crypto crap. And we don't want that. We want people to buy in, not sell out. We have to see what happens with the whole government thing, the Gary Gensler thing, the Elizabeth Warren thing. We got to see what happens with all that stuff. I don't know what the answer is. I think that crypto will be all right long term. I think crypto will be okay in the long term, long haul. I think everything's a long play. I think we're getting smarter, but we still have the kids that say the word Jeet running around. And as long as we have those, it's going to be hard to sustain. It's going to be hard to hold the line. And so big picture, I think we're okay. A big picture, I think we're all right. And we're on the cusp of something, and patience is going to be a virtue of people. And some people can't handle it. Some people are not the patient sort. They can't deal with it. They can't deal with the stress of it. And I understand that. And I would not want people to keep themselves stressed out over something that you can't control, because you can't control it. It is what it is. It's not worth it. It's just do what you got to do. With that, I'll shut up, see if I have any other questions before I wrap up and figure out what I'm going to do for lunch. And then I'll have to see if YouTube had an issue. It said it did. I'll have to see if it really did, or it's just lying to me. I have no idea. Question about BXEN rewards token. Would be stupid since you can admit it for free. Only he was going to make one. Trying to convince him to do BEP, ETH, BEP, Cult, etc. I don't know what that means. Are you asking about a Binance rewards token? Hopefully it's not referring to Zen Crypto. I certainly hope not. I got nothing against the guy, but like I said, I have a difficult time trusting anybody who does not maintain eye contact and who blinks excessively, because it usually means they're trying to hide something, which you can search and confirm yourself. That's not me saying that. That's public psychology. Yep, Zen. So, yeah. I can't speak to that. I have no opinion either way. Like I said, I'm not full into, as a strategy, so-called rewards token, because there have been so many of them that came and went and crapped out. And I suspect any others that try to spin up now, they're going to crap out, because we're in a bear. Main is the main problem. Number two, sentiment is down across the board. 3, trust is down across the board. I would never advocate any sort of rewards, anything. If somebody's trying to get passive anything, unfortunately, the best way to do that is central exchanges, because they'll offer you passives for holding your tokens there or for soft staking. But unfortunately, that's going to be the safer way to do it versus trusting some sketchy token off on Decent. That's my opinion. I will never advocate, not right now, certainly. I would never advocate rewards type tokens. So many have come and gone that have failed. Any printer failed. Earn Hub, formerly Safe Earn, failed. The Beam Rewards token failed. Safe Moon might as well be dead. All of them failed. All of them were garbage. All of them are gone. And yet the mainstays are the ones that didn't offer that stuff. SHIB doesn't offer any of that. It's still around. So their solvency plays in. Satama V3 tried to talk about you're going to get that rewards and volume and all that. Didn't do any good. It's not solvent. Not Dirty Bear. It's not solvent. You're not going to be able to sustain it. You don't have enough coming in to keep it up. It's just basically a house of cards, and it's going to fall. Anybody just wants to go, because you got to think about it. And also, maybe I need to give some perspective from my angle. I make thousands every month. I make a lot of money every month. So I'm never going to be impressed by a couple $100. It'll never impress me. If you're able to make more for me, or at least minimum for me, what I would minimally need if I didn't have my endeavors, okay, we can talk about it. No crypto can ever do that. You never could. So I'm never impressed. If it's just a couple $100 or $50 or something, I'm never impressed. Somebody could go in right now to Libero ecosystem, toss $50,000 into their miner and make a decent amount per month. But if you had $50,000, would you really lock it to some other sketchy company just for your piddly couple $100 back? Why does that make any sense? To me, it doesn't. Why? At that point, I might as well just toss it in a bank, being honest. At least with the bank, you have some regulatory protections. In Crypto, you do not. And no cryptocurrency will just dish out money for you giving nothing in return. It'll never happen. If they claim to, it's a scam. And I'll say that on record. It's a scam. If they claim to be able to do that, it's a scam. No token can give you free money, even Zen Crypto. Zen Crypto doesn't really give you free money. It just gives you something you can sell. But at some point, it'll fall down. It's going to fall apart because it doesn't really do anything. It's just a matter of time. They're banking on the scarcity, creating value. Scarcity can create value, but there's got to be something more to it. In their case, it's adoption. The adoption's somewhat up there. They're nowhere close to what Bitcoin's been able to do. And because Bitcoin did it first, people ask, why would I do that one when I could just do Bitcoin over there? Bitcoin's more valuable. Apparently, people are willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars for that one. Why would I do this Zen over here that's less than a penny in value when I could just do Bitcoin over there for tens of thousands of dollars? But what I'm describing, though, is outside the crypto bubble thinking. Inside crypto, everybody thinks this Zen Crypto and all these make perfect sense. They don't. Inside it does, but outside the crypto, they don't care. They're looking at that price. They're looking at that price. Are we seriously saying that a Tesla is truly that much better of a car, that it's worth $60,000 when you could get a Ford Fusion, or used to be able to, Ford Fusion Energy, which is an electric plug-in, for a third that cost? We're seriously saying the Tesla is 3 times better than the Ford Fusion? I don't say it is. Just because it has a screen inside of it, just because it has self-driving that's caused crashes and stuff, it's not that much value, but it's the perception. You give a high price, it's perceived as something special. That's how it used to be with Toyota and the Avalon. Toyota was looked at as the El Cheapo car, and Avalon was looked at as the so-called luxury car. That's what happened with Buick. Buick was looked at as the luxury line, and now it's garbage compared to everything else. It's all smoke and mirrors of economics. You put something at a high price, and there's a perception it must be better than everything else. Apple was fighting with that for years. Are we saying that the iPhone's that much better? It's not. There was a time it might have been. It's not now. Apple computers certainly are not better than PCs now. At one time, they might have been. They're not now. It's all perception. So I understand that some people are fine going after this over here because it's free. Doesn't work for me because I look at what's the value outside of the bubble. These people over here are going after Bitcoin like crazy. There's got to be something there. And it has a limited supply and it's got the protections. It's a commodity. It's never going to be a security. Okay, I got to look at that and say, maybe I should just go over there because it's already got what I want. That's how I feel about it. Personal opinion. And I don't think anybody will ever change my mind on that. I don't think I'll ever support any crypto that's trying to copy or refine how this happens over here. I feel the same way about any crypto. I'm not just picking on Zen. I'm just saying Bitcoin's already doing it. It's already there. I want to see somebody do something better than what they're doing. And nobody's done that yet, except maybe Ethereum. And Ethereum still got work to do because it's now inflationary instead of deflationary, which is bad. So time will tell. So to the question, it's not that I think this token is or isn't stupid. It's I'm never going to support rewards token in a bear market because they can't sustain it because they can't get the volume. Without the volume, where are the rewards coming from? The money has to come from somewhere. It's got to come from volume. We don't have the volume, so it's never going to sustain. It'll be a temporary. And if somebody just wants to make a couple $100, that's fine. But that's gambling at that point. I celebrate anybody to be a gambler. I'm not. All right, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to try to figure out why the heck it will not let me stream to Twitch because that bothers me. I think I know why. I think it's just terrible software, but I'm going to try to figure that out because everything else worked perfectly fine. And then whatever YouTube's squawking at, I'll verify it. If there's an issue, I will fix it and get it reposted because I want to get the best quality out of it. But meanwhile, I'll try to get my old software working because it works much better for multi-streams like I like to do it. If something comes up after the fact, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I will. They are screened for spam of various kinds. Then I'll release it once I see it. We'll be back again next weekend, roughly about the same time. But I do shift it up as I had to do today because I ran into some technical difficulties. So it's roughly around the same time, but every Sunday do record here on the live. And once I said it before, you're going to hear other YouTubers completely disagree with everything I say. And that's great. I celebrate it. Let's just see who's right and who's wrong. That's all it is. Everybody's going to put an opinion out there. They've got theirs. Difference is I don't run ads for mine. So anyway, thanks again for stopping by. I appreciate every single person. Have a great week. We're going to be back on the podcast on Tuesday, and I will figure out how to get Twitch working. I guarantee you this. See ya.